welcome to Learning Music with Pat. I have been showing you various instruments that I think you would like to see. Some of them are rare enough that you won't be able to see them anywhere else. But I've also been showing you different types and examples of different types of woodwind instruments because that's my specialty. Now, about 2 or 3 segments ago, I talked to you about fifes, and I explained, I brought one back so you could see it. I explained that they are a regular flute. They're like a flute, not with the keys and the rods and the pads, but they're like a tube. And they have a perfectly round hole as a mouthpiece, and that hole is flat to the instrument. It's not built up. If you take a flute, and this isn't a flute, but it's designed to look a little like one. If you have a flute, you have the same kind of thing, but the mouthpiece, I don't know if you can catch it or not here, is built up a little bit. With the flutes, it's built up a lot more than this, but just to give you an example, this is a fife also. You blow across the fifes, you put your hands in the right positions, you blow across it. There'll be a block in here so the air can't go in both directions. The flute has it too. It has a cap on it. And this is what the flutes and the fifes are like. Well, what I didn't do, because I couldn't carry it, is to show you my walking stick flutes, which are really fifes. And I decided today the weather was good enough to bring them out. Last time the weather was bad and I couldn't bring them out. If I can't protect them because they don't have a case, they don't go out in the rain. So I'm going to start off with this walking stick flute. Quite long. Take a look at it. The mouthpiece is here. It's got that typical really hole that is level with the instrument. And then it has its tone holes. This here is an extension. It plays quite well. It plays in the key of D. I've used it quite a bit. I can remember being in a church service and I held it up like you do, and somebody said, she's playing her cane, because I played it like this, and of course the end sticks way out. That's what it's supposed to do. And somebody yelled out, she's playing her cane. This is a walking stick flute. Now, I can separate it in half and make it shorter, but what's the fun in that? If you're playing an instrument that no one has seen before, let them see the whole thing. So this is one of my walking stick flutes. Now, I have another walking stick flute that's even larger. I didn't measure before they came over, but this is terrifically long. I'll hold it like this so that you can see it. And then I'm going to hold it like this. It's hard to see the whole thing. It's made out of bamboo. And it has been treated so that it won't get bugs on it. And it's stained, and so it has that coloration. And since this is an instrument that supposedly you are able to walk with, although I never would do it, there is a rubber foot on one end, so you can stick it down. And on the top end, there is a working compass right here. And I've used that compass before because it's the only compass I have. So at any rate, this is the walking stick flute made out of bamboo, very, very large, very tall. But when you use these flutes, you do not want to walk with them really, because they're vacant in the inside. They're a tube, so they're hollow in the inside. And if you put too much weight on it, I think you could kind of break it. So these are them. These are fifes. And the reason they are fifes, both of them, is the fact that with the mouthpiece that you have, it's a hole. Here it is right here. It's a hole, and it's level to the wood, and you blow across it. I don't know if I can do that. I mean, I'll hold it up like this. You would do it like this, and the extension goes way out there. It sticks way out here as well, so it can get really tall. Well, when I saw this, I thought I was really fortunate because I'd never had a walking stick flute like this. It does work. You can take it with you. You can put it on your wrist and hold it with the strap with the wrist. But as I said, I would never, never put any weight on them because I think they would be damaged if you did. But have you ever seen a flute this tall? I'll hold it out this way. It's hard to get the whole thing, but there it is. 2 walking stick flutes that are also fifes. So I thought I'd just bring those in for you to see them. Now, I want to get back. I did talk to you also about the ocarinas, and I want to get back to it again. The ocarinas, as I said before, and I brought a couple in that I brought back, because I have gone over some of this with you before. This is a wooden ocarina. It has a little tiny slit for a mouthpiece right there. It has your thumb holes in the back. There are 2 of them. And then it has 4 holes, well, actually 5 holes in the front. Well, the labium is here. You have the labium, and then you have the 4 holes, and you just play it like this. And it's very nice. So these are the ocarinas, and I showed you a group of them. One that I showed you I made a mistake on. This is one that's Peruvian, made out of clay, and as I told you that you could wear it. And I have when I've done some music seminars, and it has a cross painted on the front of it. Now, the mistake I made was to tell you that there were only 2 holes on each side, but there are 3. There are 3 holes on either side. So you have 6 in the front. And then, of course, you have a couple in the back. And the labium is also in the back right here. But it does play, and it's beautiful to look at. And I'm just going to play a couple of notes. I wanted to correct that mistake. Has a nice tone, and you don't want to ever drop it. It's a Peruvian, hand-painted, handmade ocarina. But you see there's lots of notes on, lots of tone holes on it. Now what I really wanted to do is to bring this one back. This is called a puny tune. It is a type of ocarina, and it's just as cute as a button. And it has been specially designed so that you can have 4 tone holes, 2 on each side, which I've got my hands covering, and put my hand in back, and it plays 13 notes with 4 holes. And a lot of ocarinas have a lot more holes, so this was specially designed for that. But it's very, very cute. It plays well. Let me just blow a couple of notes on it here and there. Really beautiful tone. You have to kind of crisscross your thumbs in the back to hold it. There's no place specifically to put your thumb. But I also want to show you what they've done. This is a different kind of ocarina, but it is an ocarina. The man, Bob Mumford, who has arranged for that, has written a book. It's really quite cute. It's the care and feeding of your puny tune, how to care and feed for your puny tune. I'm going to skip through the book a little bit and then show you some pictures and tell you a little more about the history of the ocarina. You can see the book shows, I want to show you particularly this picture right here. It looks like a little crocodile or alligator kind of thing, and that is actually one of the ocarinas. And this on this side is a sweet potato ocarina. What this does is make this little instrument like a little pet, like a little animal with the pictures, and then tell you how to take care of it. So we'll go here to these pictures for a second. This is the ocarina puny tune, standing up with legs and arms and supposedly talking. Just making kind of like a little pet. This is a humorous little book. And it has a lot of information in it. Then I want to show you a couple more. Let's see if I can get the page to turn here. Take a look at this picture on the bottom. It looks like a little pig, doesn't it? It's got a little squiggly tail. The instrument is held laterally. They've added legs and ears and so forth, so they're making a little pet out of it. Then they have another picture I want you to see, if I can find it. This one here, where it looks like an animal, it has two little eyes on it. This is a little snout, the little front end, then it's got the legs and the tail. So they've made a humorous thing about it, and it's all in this book. And it has a group of fingering charts that shows you how to play it. It tells you a little about how to take care of it, but the book is a treasure. It has all of this music, and it shows you the fingerings for all of this music for common songs, like Away in the Manger and certain Christmas songs you can play on it. Amazing Grace, I mean, there's a ton of them. So a ton of popular songs. Some of them, Oh, Susanna, Home on the Range, and so forth. And it shows you how to play all of the notes for that song. Now, they come in two sizes. The puny tune comes in a key of C, and they're not too particular about how accurate it is. Let's say it's around the key of C, and this is about 4 inches long. This would be in the key of C. They do have another one that's about 6 inches long, and it's in the key of G. It's a little larger. I'd like to get that one, but this is the only one that I have. Okay, so just to teach you that, and I want to give you a little bit about the history of the ocarina, and I'm going to use some notes that I have here. The ocarina is a very, very ancient old instrument. It was devised in China and also in Africa. And of course, as people migrated, then the instrument migrated with them. So it's now worldwide, but it started in those two countries. And it was early called a globular flute. It was like a whistle, and it had an air chamber, and it had holes in it. So that's basically what it is even today. And so they played it, and they loved it, and then as the people migrated, they went to different European countries. When it got to Africa, when it went to Italy, there was a man whose name is Giuseppe Donati. He redesigned it, and he called it the ocarina. That's where it's got its real name that stuck. Now, what does it mean? Ocarina means little goose, baby goose egg. Because it had kind of a goose egg kind of look, that's where the name ocarina came from. It was an Italian term. Well, that term has stuck, and it's become more proficient and more able to play it as time goes on. When it got to the United States, it was renamed the sweet potato ocarina. This is a sweet potato ocarina. They changed a little its design, but it is an ocarina. And to me, it looks a little like a submarine, but this is the sweet potato ocarina. And so we maintain that today. So you can get them in different styles. You can get them in different sizes, different colors, plastic, wood, and clay, and so forth. So the puny tune is designed a little bit differently than the others because they wanted to play a lot of notes with very few holes. So I'm holding it up to you again. The mouthpiece is right here. The tone holes, the labium is right here. The tone holes are 2 on each side. You have the 4. And in the back, you just cross your thumbs a little to hold it in place. But it has quite a powerful tone. Now, I remember showing you the mini ocarina, which is only 1 inch square, and I played Hallelujah on it. That was the last time I brought it in, maybe a couple of sessions ago. This can play a lot as well, and it's not very big, and it's a very nice little instrument. But since it's such an instrument that has such antiquity and has been around so many years and been devised in different ways to sound in different ways, I wanted to make you a little familiar with that. It is a major instrument, a little offbeat in some ways, but it's a major instrument. And the keys may not be 100% accurate, but close. That's why they say this is near to the key of C. That's what it's supposed to be, and it does play pretty well in the key of C. A few vibrations off here or there, who cares? It's a tiny little instrument, you know, and they've kind of made a fun thing about it. So I just want to let you know that. And this is a major instrument in the sense that a lot of people play them. They're not that hard to play. So I wanted to give you a chance to have a chance to see what the ocarina is really all about. Now and I wanted to bring this one back too. This is Big Dave's fish collar. Now I had it in here, and it's a kazoo, and I explained all of that. And my director said, you know, maybe it calls fish if you put it underwater. That's where fish live. So I brought it home, and I stuck it underwater. And all I got was the same sound. It just takes your voice and changes your voice a little bit, but it is the same tune that you are singing, and it gave me a lot of bubbles. I didn't see much different in it, but that's Big Dave fish collar. So I wanted to bring that back. Now I have some other instruments here that are unusual, and I'm going to show them to you. And I guess the first thing I'm going to do is show you an air guitar. Now, people talk about playing air guitar, and usually what they mean is someone standing there and they're pretending to hold a guitar and they're pretending to strum. But there is such a thing as a real air guitar, and this is it. And it runs off a laser. There is a place in the back where you put a couple of AAA batteries, I think. I just put some batteries in it. I don't keep them in it because this is a dangerous instrument. I would not allow a child to play with it because it's a laser, and if you look directly at the laser, you can burn your eyes. You can lose your vision. And there's an on and off switch right there, and the sound comes out here. Let me turn it on. Now, if I'm to play something, I don't know, Rick, if you can pick this up or not, but it shoots out a laser beam, and you can see it on the floor when I have it on. It's like a little spot. If I were to play it, so it does have some rhythms. Let me try it again. If I play something on it,
1, 2, 3.
I'd like to turn that off and just play the sound that it makes as a guitar. All right, if you play one note, if I want it sharp, I press a little button to make it sharp. If I want it flat, I press another button. And I can strum it and make it go faster or slower by pretending to strum it. And I can see on my hand that light. Rick, can you get that light at all?
Yeah, we can see it on your skirt, Pat.
Huh?
We can see it on your skirt.
Oh, okay. Right on my skirt. And I change the pitch as I play it like this. If I'm pretending to strum it. Now, the danger of it is this. The laser comes out, the light comes out here, and it's a laser light, and it'll look like a red dot on the floor. And if I play it just right, you can actually see little strips of light sometimes coming out from it. It's kind of a toy. You can get different keys, so it's basically a background instrument with the different keys, and then you can sharpen them and you can flatten them. The thing that makes it dangerous is that light, that laser light comes out here, and if you ever were to look at it, looking at a laser light, you can burn your retina and you can lose your vision. So I wouldn't let a child play with this, even though it's kind of like a toy. I put a little red strip on the back and a little green strip, so to remind myself of what position it needs to be in to be put on and what position it needs to be to make sure that it's off. So I will turn it off. It's off now anyway. And as I said, the children, you know how children are, they'd pick it up and they'd look at it and say, oh, what's this? This is the light that comes out of it, and they could hurt their vision. So I do not recommend, even though it's kind of a novelty item and it is a real air guitar, there's no doubt about that, I would not recommend children play with this at all. It's just the top of the guitar. You can get chords on it, you can strum it. You know, you're not actually hitting anything, but you strum it and you interfere with the light that comes out, and you get different sounds. You can sharpen them, you can flatten them, you can get different rhythms on it, and that's the air guitar. I bring it in every so often just to show people what it's like, because there is such a thing as an air guitar. Yeah, let me switch that, just to keep it safe. Okay, and I brought in also, I've only got 6 minutes left, but this is a saxy. It's a saxy, S-A-X-Y. It's supposed to be a little like a saxophone, and it's really a kazoo. You sing into it, and then you can play and make your voice sound like a saxophone, like a tuba or a clarinet. So if I'm just going to put a tone in, and then we'll try and see how we do with the tuba. Whoops, I got to turn it on first. It runs. Yeah, you hear that little blip there. So it's on. So here's the tuba. All right. This is the sax. And this is a clarinet. Doesn't sound much like a clarinet to me. Saxophone, tuba, saxophone. And then you can adjust the volume and everything like that. Turn it off. You can adjust the volume. I've actually had it in orchestras and played around with it a little bit just to get people's reactions. So that's the saxy. It's just basically a novelty, but it does work. So I wanted to bring that in. Another odd instrument I have. Somebody gave this to me as an instrument from Africa. I've never tried to play it. It's very, very primitive, and I'm not sure how they got music out of it, but I wanted to bring it in. It is a genuine African artifact, and the gal who gave it to me thought it was something that you play because there's a hole here you can use like a mouthpiece, and there are two little things here, which I think you're supposed to put string on to wear it. And then you have another hole down here. It has some etchings on the back, which are interesting. It must be very, very ancient. It was like hand-carved, and you have these little X designs, which are all hand-carved. So there it is. I can't tell you exactly what it is, but it was given to me as an African instrument, so I brought it in to show it to you. So we don't have much time left, so I'm going to close it off here. And I've got some more recorders to show you next time that I was not able to bring in before because I just had too much to carry. So we'll close it here. Please join me next time.